Well, hello, this is Etta, and she is here to tell you about the show that she went to. I went and seen the Bluesmen. See that? The Bluesmen. See that? On January 23rd, as you see. And you see them? Oh, they were wonderful. You know, I went and I seen Elvis imitators. And I said, well, he was pretty good, but, you know, I wasn't too enthusiastic. And anyway, we went over to see the Bluesmen. And, I mean, talk about a show. Now, that was a show. I mean, the band, the band is absolutely wonderful. They have a 7-member band. They have one on playing the little piano thing, you know, or whatever. Then they have the guitar, and then they got the bass guitar. Then they got the drummer, and they have 3 of the brass of the horns or whatever. One a trombone, one a trumpet, and the other a saxophone. And, you know, I was really surprised when they was at the very end, when they started, you know, before the end of the show, they started introducing everybody. Every one of their band members is from a different state. That's what surprised me. Like the saxophone player was from California, from L.A. And I think the trumpet player was from New Orleans or something like that. And the drummer was from another place. There's a guy from, I don't remember which, but I know Indiana was talked about. And I remember Illinois was talked about. And just Mississippi was in there, and also Tennessee. It was just different states that some of them was from. And none of them was, you know, even was from anywhere close. So how he got the band together, I'll never know. But I tell you what, I talk about playing. I have never heard any band that could play and jazz up and do the music like they can. And those 2 guys, I tell you what, they are really have to be in good physical condition, because to introduce them, the band played about a couple of real jazzy songs. And then they says, and here comes the Bluesmen. Everybody's looking on the stage, but the spotlight went back to the back. And down one aisle and down the other aisle come each one of them, just a dancing and a flinging their arms from one to the other. And they have on their black suits or white shirts and their black ties and their black hats. And they wore their hats and they wore their suits and everything all through the show. Never take them off. And talk about the taller one. I don't know how his legs was made on him. I still can't figure out how. I mean, his legs, him dancing up and down and around and twist around and everything. It didn't look like they were like on a rag doll or something. Didn't look like they belonged to a human being. But he could really dance. And just keep it up and keep it up. And he also could play a harmonica. And he brought a little briefcase along with him. And he kept getting in his briefcase, and he had different size harmonicas. One of them was real small. And he even got down, he was a-playing and he was a-dancing. He finally got down in the floor, and his legs was a-flinging up in the air, a-kicking up and down like this, and him a-playing the harmonica. Laying down flat on his back. I don't see how he could be on his flat on his back, kicking his legs up in the air and playing that harmonica like he was. Now the little one, the shorter one, the little chubby one that's supposed to be the other guy, pretend to be, he was good. Oh yes, he could sing very, very well. And he could dance too. He tried his little short legs just to dance. And he kept dancing and dancing and dancing. And he went down into the audience and got a couple of gals and had them flinging their arms around and the dancing too. And, well, anyway, it went on. After they appeared, my husband looked at his watch, and when the show was over with, they had been performing for an hour and 35 minutes, non-stop. Practically non-stop. I mean, they drew their breath, and then away they'd go again. I mean, I've never seen any, I mean, hey, you know what? Anybody on a treadmill, how long can you run on a treadmill for how many minutes? But an hour and 35 minutes? Oh, God. I don't see. You could tell the taller one was sweating, and the sweat, I mean, it was warm down off the stage, but can you imagine up there with the heat going up and closer to the lights and stuff? I mean, you know, but they sure did I enjoyed that. And, oh, I enjoyed their music. Oh, it kept you dancing and hopping and wanting to pat your feet and get up and fling your arms around, and it did one older man. It was about 10 or 15 minutes, I guess, just before they ended. I didn't know they was going to end, but anyway, they started playing this tune, and both of them was just a-dancing, their legs a-going, their arms a-flaring all over, you know, going like this and everything, frailing all over, and their legs a-going and everything. And all it was, we heard a it came from the crowd, and up the aisle came this man. I mean, he must have been nearly, in his mid-60s or close to 70. His arms was just a-frailing over his head like this, and his legs was just a-going, and he just going like this, and up to the stage and in front of the stage. He didn't go on the stage, but he was in front of the stage. And boy, and they were a-dancing, he was a-dancing, and he was, yee-hoo! And I mean, talk about dancing and a-frailing his arm. Tell you what, the old man was good. His little legs was just a-going. Because I stood up and walked around so I could see, and his legs was just a-going. And finally, both the other guys that was on the stage, the music was still going, but the old man on top of that, which I can't understand, was doing it with his eyes shut. Well, I shut my eyes and I would fall down, because I get up and I'm in the dark and I can't walk. I mean, I lose all my equilibrium is so off that I just stumble and stagger. And for me, I mean, maybe used to, I got up and danced around like that when I was real young, but not old as he was. But he was there. I mean, I said to my husband, I said, looky there, he's doing that with his eyes shut. Man, he was into the music until he was just listening to his, and those head and those arms and just going. I tell you what. And you know what? When that tune was supposed to end, they kind of slowed down, and the man kept going, and the ones that was there acting had stopped. Actually, they're dancing and come up and started pointing down at him. And they just went like that in amazement. They had their hands, or they're going like this, you know, with their eyes, you know, like this. You know, at that guy. And when they started to slow down, I guess it was, the guy turned around and went like this to the band, like that, and they started up again. Well, shoot, they went another 5 minutes when the song was supposed to end, and the guy kept on. And I do believe if they'd went another 5 minutes, the old man had still been going. But when they stopped playing that song, he stopped, and then he come just marching right back down the aisle and right to his seat. He was too far from my husband and I. So after it was all over with, like in about 10 minutes more or so after that, that was the end of the program. And I told my husband, I've got to go to the restroom before we leave here tonight. He says, me too. So he come out, and when he come out and we was on our way home, he said, you know that man that did all the dancing there at the end, the older man? He said he was in the restroom, and he had the cold water on, and he was just splashing his face and trying to cool himself up. His shirt in the back was just wringing wet. So he said, boy, he'd never danced like that before in a long, long time. Well, I've run out of time, so I've got to stop for dinner. So bye-bye for now. Bye.